Welcome to the cockpit of the FA-18C, sitting on the deck of the USS Stennis, which is a Nimitz-class carrier. The graphics of the aircraft on the deck are not great because they're just static aircraft. They're not the real deal. This is the real deal. This is our F-18, wings folded, a couple of weapons on the wings, and the aircraft has three displays, one on the left DDI, a right DDI, a lower DDI or AMPCD. It's like a DDI but carries a map. Get rid of the stick because it's in the way. This is the HUD control panel. This is the up-front controller with buttons and associated displays with various functions and some functions that can be called up on these DDIs. It's the left-hand console with various controls, same with the right. And you can already see that with the head scanning system we use, it's quite twitchy getting hold of the mouse and getting over the switch that you want. So we will use fixed views for left console and the right. And what you just saw was the knee board, which has to be on the screen, unfortunately. This is the mission map, which we won't be following, and this is the checklist for startup. We've requested startup already. In fact, they think we're ready, but they're not. Okay, let's start with turning the battery on. On the left console, get rid of this list. There are some tests for various APU and engine warnings.
Engine fire left. Engine fire left.
I'm not going to put you through that lot. Okay, now we need to actually start the engine. So APU on, auxiliary power unit, that gives us the wherewithal to start the main engines. When the green ready light comes up, we'll be able to crank the right engine. Right engine number 2, similar to the Lightning, it tends to run many of the services. Crank the right engine. And if we look forward then to the engine panel, you can see the revs are rising. When they go to 65, we'll be able to continue some of the setup functions. That's my number 2 throttle there. Put that into idle. Once we pass 23%, that releases the fuel into the engine. Next thing we have to do is rotate the bleed air, close the canopy, and test some lights and warnings, which I'm not going to bother with because it just wastes time and file size. So let's just do this bleed air.
Flight controls.
That's it. While I'm here, I'm going to set the radar to operational. It won't transmit while we're on the ground. Set the initial navigation system to CV. If we were on the ground, I'd set it to ground. And when the gyros have been running for 4 minutes, so I can move it to nav. That will give us accurate information for navigation. Now we turn on the DDIs and the lower display, which is like a DDI with a map on it. Turn on the HUD. Set the altitude on the HUD to radar altitude. At the moment it's flashing B because we're on the ground, but below 5,000 feet it will give us an accurate reading over the ground or the water. Up front control panel with its associated displays. I'm going to set the TAC-N, which is a tactical navigation system, clear the existing reading, and test channel 724, which is the Stennis channel. And you can see now on the HSI down here that the Stennis information has turned up. A bit difficult to read. Let's put it up onto the HUD. There. The important thing is the distance from the Stennis, and of course we're on the Stennis, and 0.1 of a mile is about the minimum it can measure. We'll get rid of these irritating flashing signs. All these failures are due to these equipments not being fitted to the aircraft. You're going to set the left display to flight control system. You can see there are a number of boxes with crosses in them, which mean there are issues to be resolved, which will be. Okay, we've done the INS, we've done the radar. We can crank the left engine. RPM rising. Off 20, move throttle 1 to idle. Fuel comes in, revs start to rise. Okay, I've done the INS and the radar. Need to turn on my oxygen, which is back and a bit fiddly to get to. There he is. Now I can reset the flight control system to see if we get rid of some of those crosses in the boxes. This is done down here. Reset FCS. All the boxes have cleared. Next is to set the flaps to auto. Set the takeoff trim by pressing this button. And you'll notice that the stab trim has now been set to 12 degrees up, which is the optimum for takeoff. It is adjustable depending on your load. Your final FCS check. These 4 items are all now go. Return to the bit list. Cycle Pro Speed Brake Launch Bar. I'm not going to waste your time on that. Set the flaps down through to full and then back to half. Set bingo fuel. I need to have a call when I'm getting low on fuel. 3,000 pounds will get me back to the carrier or the nearby Persian Gulf airfields. Uncase the standby altimeter. Check the baro altimeter, which is at 70 feet and coincides with the HUD reading. Set a radar warning altitude. For a carrier you set to 40 feet, you don't really want to go below that. For an airfield you'd have 200. Set ATT to standby, which it already is. Now, before I release the handbrake, I've got a few things to do. Get rid of this panel. Move the INS to nav. About the seat, I probably don't really want to do that just yet, because I have to ask the ground crew to remove the wheel chocks. It's one of those examples where we have to go through a menu system in the top right of the screen.
Chief, remove the wheel chocks.
Copy. Wheel chocks are now
So unfortunately
removed.
you can only communicate with the AI and the carrier by menu. Okay. I've got a warning up. It's because of the anti-skid, which you could see on that left screen. I'm now going to set the FCS to the right screen, just so we can monitor it. And I'm going to set the left screen to the HUD as a standby in case the main one fails. Good. Now I can arm the seat. Have a good look around. I'm going to go to that right hand of those 2 ramps. And I think we're ready to go. Release the handbrake. Little flicks of resetting the view is because of the head tracker, it does drift slightly. Bring up the engine. I'm getting a warning. Wings are unlocked. Of course they are. I'll resolve those later. Taxi with the wings retracted because there's not a lot of room on the carrier usually. And one thing that's currently missing but is in train for this simulator is the ground crew. There will be animated ground crew that will help you hook to this launch block that you can see at this end of the ramp. In the meantime we're going to have to do it ourselves, and the only way we can do that is to go outside and have a look. So we temporarily become the ground crew. The undercarriage and the launch bar are actually under my backside. Pop outside and have a look. I'll try to close the canopy. Okay, now we become ground crew. I've got to get that launch bar, which is sticking forward and up from the front wheels, over the launch block on the track at the beginning of the ramp. Okay, lower the bar. Let's unfold the wings. It's down here on the right. Well, I've actually done that on a control box that you can't see. Okay, wings are down. Let's get hooked up. Pink, there it goes. Not a brilliant graphic, but it's there. Now we are indeed ready to go. Deflection shield is behind us. Quick check. Yeah. Okay, bring the engines up to full reheat. And somebody somewhere will punch a button. Standard procedures: make a left turn to 20-30 degrees from the carrier heading, stay below 700 feet. Usually clear the carrier by 7 miles before you carry on with your journey. Still at 400 feet, as you can see on the right. You can see that it's a radar reading, so it's accurate. I'm now going to set the right DDI to a radar, whatever. Depends on your mission profile. And that's it.